space that you're in now.
The biggest hole that I can contribute with is our history.
Is
We
our
don't
what?
understand is our history. We don't understand how much we have already done. We don't understand how much that was erased from us, stolen from us, hidden from us. This is why we feel like we can't do these certain things. We have to learn our history so we can know how far we can go or how far we already are.
So
You
we
understand?
so
Like
yes,
today, for example, right? Today, I had a list of the black inventors, and it was over 300 names on that list, and it was literally 80% of the things we use in our daily lives. From the hair dryer to the doorbell to the doorknob, simplest things, all the way to, as we know, the White House. And that right there would tell you of our history. You know, the only uh, uh, people to successfully fly in and conquer another country by air were the Tuskegee Airmen. That's us. If we know our history and then we know where we came from, and then we know what we have done since we were enslaved and brought to this land and treated unfairly, and the triumphs that we went through to get to that level, we could understand that honestly, what we're doing now is nothing but a walk in the cake. I mean, you know, a walk in the park. You know, it's a slice of cake, and honestly, truly, it is, bro. We never had social media. Now, if I need you, I can just call you. Versus back in the day, I have to travel however long just to get to your house. You know, so we have to is the education of history, bro. I'm a true solid believer. We have to educate ourselves with our own history.
so how do we implement that? Because teaching history, right, is a good thing. Once we know our history, once we know how the last generation or the generation that we just lost, right, that no longer lives, if we can go back 100 years, none of those people 100 years ago are still here. So they're not here to tell that history in its fullness, right? But we're pretty close to it. So how do we take those? How do we take that history, that recent history, that always inspires and always pushes us to stand up? Because they was lynching us in the street just like 50 years ago. It wasn't that
Yeah,
long,
it
and they're
wasn't
still
that
doing
long.
it in a different way today. How do we create a system or a little program or something right there in the streets?
Honestly, you have to be willing. Is honestly is preaching the preach we're preaching. If we're
Yep.
saying if we're saying, listen, we need our history, then that sparks the mind of, okay, so what's our history? You know, and then that's how you start the conversation. You need to spark. So we keep on preaching the preach that we're preaching. That's why where that saying comes from. Keep fighting the good fight. You have to keep preaching it, and even if you don't know your per se history, but you know you need to know it. By you preaching that, it's going to a brother say, "Come here, brother. Let me talk to you. I know what you seek. I have those answers for you. Let me show you something. Let me lay this down." There's always going to be an elder. That's why we have to respect our elders, and that's why we have to seek and go to them. And as I said, we have technology nowadays that gives us these outlets. You know, the encyclopedia is at the tip of our fingers. You know what I mean? So it's there, and what you're essentially asking is, how do we teach the history? So
That's happening.
so I would say, honestly, is first you have to filter the history because we're taught a lot of lies and a lot of things from the unseen. So first you have to, like you said, you're taught things, and you could also unlearn things. So we have to unlearn a lot of things first to be acceptable to the things that we are going to learn. You know, and I believe, you know, on the smallest level possible, that's how it should start and go. Now, however, or the steps you take to get there is you know, to its own. But on a minuscule level, you have to consciously know that you know things that you shouldn't even have learned because they're a lie. So once you unlearn those things and learn how to decipher between things, because this is the beauty of confusion. I tell you truth, I tell you lie, I tell you something that's mixed with truth and lie. You don't know which way to go. And any way you do go, it's still my way. and that's the world we live in. So once we consciously have that, and then from your conscious, you take it to your self-conscious. So you walk around conscious. To be conscious of something is to be in the known, to be alert with. So you walk around with a defense mechanism within your conscious, but self-conscious is the things you do without realizing, the things that are embedded in your mental DNA. So once we have that in our mental DNA, as in, you know, this is my brother. He can't hurt me. He is to protect me. We're not the ones that are hurting each other. We're here at the protest today. I don't even like to call it a protest. We're here at the revolution, if you will, and we're here, Bloods, Crips together, congregating. You got people that never met each other a day in their life, feeding each other, clothing each other, singing, praying. Like Lavish said, they were literally sleeping on the streets here, bro, for like a week.
Mm.
Like it's a beautiful thing, bro. So I believe that we already know how to do it. We just have to want to do it. Like,
Right.
like, it's like if you're hungry, you're gonna get up and cook. you know, you know,
You're
you know what I'm
right.
saying?